Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to make this really cute kitchen curtain. It comes in 3 parts with 2 tie backs and has some lace, so let's get started on this adorable kitchen curtain. First, you want to start out with a couple pieces of fabric that are the same size rectangle. Alright, once you have that, you want to get yourself a skewer because you're going to use that as a spacer. Fold over the fabric. Then you want to turn it accordingly to where your pressure foot lines right up with it so that you can use it as a guide and you don't have to worry about having an uneven stitch. So go ahead and stitch that. I go back and forward at the beginning at the end. That way it's not gonna tear or rip on me. Okay, now you want to get your other piece of fabric and make sure that you have it even, and you're going to do the same thing, and I'm lining it up next to it so that way they become the same size and length. Right, so I'm going to fold the same amount over, and I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to stitch it. I'm not going to break the thread between the two because I'm just going to cut it in half when it's gone, or when it's finished. Okay, now make sure you pull your skewer out if it's gone against the wall or anything so that you don't end up hitting the wall and bunching your fabric up. Then again, go backwards at the end so you can finish that stitch off. Now remember to cut your frays and any stragglies that you have. Okay, in the center you want to cut that jump stitch. Alright, so now you want to pick your lace if you want to add lace to it. Lace is optional. And you want to decide where you want it. Do you want it at the top? Do you want it at the side? Do you want it all the way around? This part's completely up to you where you want it. I'm going to put mine on the inner side from the right and then the inner side from the left, so that when I put them together, they will end up matching as a lace curtain down the side would go. This part's a little tricky because you don't want to sew over your skewer, so you're going to have to take it out, but you want to keep it in there at first to help space it. Alright, if your lace is bent, you want to cut that part off or iron it out. Now you can always do these curtains exactly the same way I'm doing it, except for use liquid stitch or tacky glue, and then you won't have to worry about sewing if you're not a person that knows how to sew. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and stitch this straight down and around. Okay, so watch out for those little ends by the needle. You don't want to get your finger caught. Use the little skewer point if you need to get close. And remember, don't go all the way up, because if you go all the way up, you're going to seal that hole where you need the rod to go. Make sure you stop before you get to that point. Okay, so I like to nip the corner of my lace, that way I can fold it in a bend a little bit easier. So just kind of put a teeny tiny cut in there and it'll fold much better for you. Now remember, you're only going to do the inner side and the bottom if this is how you want your lace to be. Again, cut off any stragglies you have left and any random stitching that's hanging off of the curtain. Don't worry too much about the fabric fray at this moment, because I'm going to show you how to fix that. All right, now you want to repeat that again on the opposite curtain, but make sure you have your one curtain sitting up next to you. That way you can make sure that you have it exactly where you want it to be. Okay. If you notice on the curtain that's sitting alone by itself, the lace is on the inner right side of it coming down to the bottom. Now the one that we're doing now is on the inner left side coming down to the bottom. That way when they meet, they'll actually go together. Alright, now you want to place them both on your curtain rod, which I'm using a skewer for, to make sure that they match and they line up. Alright, now I'm using this clamp to hold it in place where I want it so I can form some wrinkles. You can spray a little bit of water on there, and then when it dries, it'll dry with the wrinkles in the place that you want them to be. Okay, so this is what it looks like so far. Alright, now, so for this next part, we're going to take 2 more rectangles, the same exact size as the top, and then you're going to make a valance to go across the bottom of the curtain. Now, you can use both of them for the bottom, or you can use the same pattern that we're doing here, and you can make one for the bottom, and then you can just nix the whole top that we just did, and then make a top curtain. So it's completely up to you. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and fold this over, and this time we're going to go the longest part, not the shortest part. So the skewer is going to go on the longest part when you go and start stitching it. And you see how I had it on the right? Well, now you want to make sure you turn it to the left, to where the skewer is on the left side of the pressure foot. Alright, so go ahead and stitch that all the way down. Remove any stragglies that you have. Okay, now you want to prepare your lace, because now we're going to add lace all the way across the bottom. Now I will tell you, the lace that I'm using, you can go to Michael's Craft Store in the scrapbook section and find it. I buy it in that area because it's much smaller scale than they actually have in the fabric store. So you might want to check it out. It usually comes in like 4 to 8 in a pack. Depending on what time of year you get it and what kind of lace it is, it usually runs for about $4 to $8, but they're very small rolls. You don't get a lot in it. But it's definitely worth it for miniature scaling. Now you can pin the lace on there if you like, or you can just kind of hold it and eyeball it. Just be careful not to get your fingers near that needle. And I'm just doing my lace straight across the bottom. We are not doing the sides on this one. The sides are going to be hidden by the curtain on the top. Now if you're going to use this for a valance instead of the bottom piece of the curtain, you may want to go up the sides. Or you may not want to add lace at all. It's completely up to you. Alright, again, you're going to remove those stragglies and cut the lace that you did not use off. Now, grab yourself some liquid stitch, because this is how we're going to fix our frays. If you can't find liquid stitch where you live at, then you can use tacky glue, and that'll do the same thing. If you don't have tacky glue, you can use some Elmer's school glue. Just put the Elmer's school glue on the back side, like I'm putting this liquid stitch on the back side. Alright, now what that's going to do is that's going to stiffen that edge and glue those little frays in place so that they don't continuously fray away. Alright, you want to do that on both sides that are left open, and any areas of the other curtains that are left exposed as well. Okay, so we're almost done. I'm going to put this one on the rod, and then I'll show you what it's going to look like. And we're going to go ahead and install it right after I fix these frays. We want to go ahead and let that set up, and it only takes a couple of seconds for this to really stiffen into the fabric, and then it dries rather quickly as well. Now, if you're going to make these, and you're going to make them without using your sewing machine or sewing by hand, you can use glue to glue them. If you use hot glue, you're going to end up with a bulkiness to it, and it's not going to let you scrunch it together the way you need it to have the pleats in it. So I would use something very thin like the liquid stitch, or I would use like the tacky glue. One of those two should work for you. Okay, so now you want to cut 2 very long pieces, and they are very skinny. These are going to be your tie backs. Okay, so you're going to fold 1/3 into 1/3. So fold your right half into the middle and your left half on top of your right half. And apply the liquid stitch as you go. And then that's going to make that tie back for you. Now I'm cutting them the same length as my fabric just because that's what I have. However, you can cut these whatever you want, or you can use a piece of ribbon if you want to and you don't want to mess with making this. Now make sure you press it really tight, going all the way down, to make sure it has that nice flat consistency all the way through the fabric. And you want to press that glue out. Alright, so you're going to make 2 of these, and you're making them at least 3 times as long as your curtain. So, or 2 times as long as your curtain. So if your curtain is going to be 2 inches, then, you know, you want to make this piece at least 4 inches. Because remember, it has to wrap around the back, and then you need room for it to glue. And you will cut some of it off, and that's okay. But you just want to make sure you have enough, because if you don't have enough, it's not going to work. Okay, so whatever surface you use to put that glue on those tie backs, go ahead and get a rag and clean it off of there, because it will not, if you're doing it on your sewing machine, it will not allow you to slide your fabric as easily if it's kind of tough there. Okay, so to apply them, you want to go ahead and make a loop and glue it in place. And you want to do that for both of them. Now, I'm just using the clip to kind of hold it in place where I want it to stay, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, so here's what it's going to look like. Now let's go ahead and let this dry, and then we'll install it and you can see what it looks like. I'll have the pictures at the end so you can see all of it. Okay, so standard curtains usually is a little bit taller, but I wanted to be able to see where my window had the cross piece. So it's up to you which way you want to do yours. make sure that you measure and mark where you're going to put it. And then I'm installing mine with hot glue. Don't get the hot glue on your paper because it will pull it completely off of the walls. I'm putting it on the wood, and there is a chance that it'll pull it off of the wood as well. But I don't plan on removing these, so I think it'll be fine, and I don't have any kids playing with it, so I think I'll be okay with that. Alright, now you want to go ahead and put some hot glue on the top, if that's the glue that you're going to choose. Now, if you decide you don't want to use glue, then you can go ahead and put some stick pins or something in there, and then rest your rod on the stick pins. Just be careful not to poke your stick pins all the way through to the outer layer. Alright, so go ahead and put that on there. Make sure you have it even, and then hold it in place, and then you're good to go. Alright, just straighten all your curtains out, fix your tie back. I'm actually going to glue my tie backs to the wood so that they will stay in place, although you don't have to because we do have it glued to the curtain itself. Alright guys, so here's what it looks like. I hope this tutorial was helpful. And don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a question, suggestion, or comment below. And hit that bell if you want to be notified the next time I post a video. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook as well under Dollhouse Miniature Madness and Tutorials, and dollhousetutorials.com for your free templates and your free printable wallpaper and backsplashes. Alright, thanks a lot. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.